Just as a brief introduction to me, hopefully, most of you will know me as I've invited you today. But I'm Claire Connor. I'm one of the retail account executives here at ANS. Really looking forward to taking you through today's agenda. It's my first hosted webinar. So I've been told to stand up, so I'm standing. If I do need translation, Mark Johnson's going to help with that. Being joined by Martin and Rob. I'll give you a brief introduction to them in a bit. But really looking forward to today's session. Hope you are too. And we'll go through just the agenda piece of what we're going to go through today. So I'm going to do just a brief background on ANS for those of you who don't know us. I appreciate a lot of you already do, but just to give you a brief overview about what we do. And then Mark, who is the ANS Security Practice Lead, will be talking about the global threat landscape and also specifically how this is affecting retailers. Martin Brierley is the head of data and AI practice here at ANS, and he's going to give an overview of how that's affecting retailers. And last but by no means least, Rob Cottrell, our very own tech director, he'll be taking you through the insights on the future of Microsoft Copilots and how retail businesses really need to have security posture in place before exploring Copilot. So I will start to go through the overview of ANS, and as it shows up on the screen, we've been supporting customers for over 25 years now digitally transform their organisations. We like to think and say that we are down to earth tech experts, and I know a lot of you on the webinar today will know of us, have worked with us before. But equally, I think a lot of you will be at different stages of transformation, lots of different levels of maturity, maybe using multiple platforms, tools, varying degrees of teams, the sizes and skill sets. And ANS as a business, you know, we're not the biggest, but we're certainly not the smallest. And from our customer side, we've got over 600 enterprise customers and 2,500 small, medium-sized customers. So our experience with these businesses, coupled with our business outcomes focus, really through our customer-first approach, means that Microsoft have put us in their top 1% of partners globally, knowing that the customers that they choose to recommend us to and put us in front of have access to a really rich pool of ANS accredited and talented resources for multiple projects with 24/7 365 support, all out of our UK office here based in Manchester. Now, thinking about those customers and the ANS support across the retail sector, you know, ANS are helping customers on their journey across the security space. They come to ANS to modernise security tooling because they are on the road to digital maturity. A recent example of a retailer we've worked with had deployed an MDR solution previous to COVID, and you know, business requirements, customer requirements were significantly evolving throughout the years, and they needed to ensure that they had enterprise grade technology in place just to make sure, you know, preventing cybersecurity breaches as the cybersecurity market was evolving. So as such, you know, tooling was no longer fit for purpose. They couldn't meet security requirements for their growing of over 2,000 employees. So ANS delivered a Sentinel accelerator, and Mark's going to talk a little bit more about how that works in a minute. But what we did with that, we utilised Microsoft funding to support that customer through this journey, to help them get a better look and feel for Sentinel. We also helped them create an ROI, which helped them dislodge the existing tooling. And with that, we were able to roll out Sentinel and Defender across their entire cloud estate. And the reason why they chose to partner with us was purely down to the level of expertise and experience that we have in delivering security solutions for over 25 years with our Security Ops Centre based out here of Manchester for over 10 years. We've been supporting over 300 customers with our operations, and our skills across multi-discipline projects, utilising a mix and range of technologies and platforms to best serve the customers who partner with us. And, you know, really from a Microsoft standpoint, we are one of the UK's most highly accredited partners. Being a member of MISA and with our advanced security specialisms, we've most recently been verified as a Microsoft MXDR partner, which means that Microsoft engineers have reviewed and audited our solutions so that they meet the highest of industry standards and round-the-clock security, including proactive threat hunting, investigation and response, prevention services. So basically, this verification means that ANS can help you and your business and team secure your end users and your multi-cloud infrastructure. And so thinking about why that is so important to the retail sector, really, given the wealth of customer information and payment information that retailers have access to, it really is no surprise that nearly a quarter of all cyber attacks are actually levied against retailers. And with the cost of the breach, not only thinking about the financial impact to sales and service and the time spent actually recovering from attack, it is quite difficult to quantify, but saying on average, the average breach cost was £1 million last year. When you put that into the mix of the retail industry, running on low margins, it's really easy to see just how damaging this can be. And actually, really, the fundamental of that is really what security detection systems that everybody should have in place. But actually, out of the most attacked sectors, retail actually sits in the middle. But when you're thinking about other services that are part of your wider network, the supply chain, wholesale, production, any one of these parts of your business network that falls victim to attack, the knock-on effect, can reach across multiple touch points across your organisation. I'm an ex-Asda buyer, with retail knowledge as an end user from the front end. But I'm going to show my age now, but 10 years ago, cybersecurity or threat intelligence maybe wasn't as much on my radar or anyone's as it is today because of the scale and changing of the attack complexities. But thinking about and understanding the impacts that I would have had in that role of a supply chain attack, or thinking about how that could have affected my trade, my supply, my sales data, how much that would have had on my day to day. I'm thinking about today, the topics for the emerging technologies such as Copilot that we're going to talk about in a bit later, helping you as your business and organisation keep up to date with this and, become smarter with your security choices. A lot of my customers are telling me, especially in the AI sector, they really don't want to be left behind. And for us, we feel the future is about transforming organisations in the right way with AI and ML. ANS as a partner really feel that enabling organisations to take the correct approach with the right mindset and guardrails to ensure security and governance really are the top priority. I just thought I would finish on a recent government survey come out this year on attacks that highlight, whilst most organisations will have policies around how they're applying security updates and monitoring activity, but almost 3/4 actually don't have up-to-date malware or strong enough password protection. In a recent study on Stealer malware ecosystems, it's reported that malicious actors can actually dig deeper into organisations from as low as a price tag as $10 a log. So given the discussions of what we've just had about the cost and impact of businesses, needing to be prepared to monitor their entire environment, but have the experts in place to help with that support and monitor to quickly analyse, detect and respond to these. Without further ado, I'm just going to hand over to Mark now, who's going to give a deeper overview of the global threat landscape.
Thanks, Claire. Thanks for the update as well. Great update that. So I'm Mark Johnson. I'm the security kind of practice lead for ANS. Been at ANS now for 10 years, but I've been in industry for 35 years. Started in the forces back in 1987. I don't believe I'm actually that old. I think most of the people that were in our business actually weren't even born then. But I've got a breadth of experience in security and communications. So hence the reason I head up that for ANS. But today, I'm just going to probably elaborate about what the wider cyber landscape is. Now, most people on the call will understand that because if you're involved this day to day. The thing about retail were probably the first kind of industry to start to really adopt, going into cloud, digitizing, using some of the modern tools. So some of this stuff will be known, but these are things that we kind of hit. So what's driving that change today? For me, I got this from the MDDR report so this is the Microsoft Digital Defense report. The new one's just come out, so we'll put that in the notes when we send you the presentation afterwards. But the cyber criminal economy is the third largest globally by GDP. So that is after China and the USA at $6 trillion. So as you can see, this is well organized. It's not some hoodie sat in a bedroom somewhere trying to hack your environments. This is very well organized. If you start at the bottom there, where you've got organizations and individuals, if your hygiene and your maturity and your posture is not at the right levels, then you've got a team of access brokers that will basically look for vulnerabilities in all these environments. They will then position those to affiliates. Affiliates are the same as a franchise, effectively. So they will then go out and build these propositions using things like Lockbit. Lockbit's probably the largest ransomware as a service provider. And in the US last year, I think they turned over something like just over 10 billion. So very well organized, and they will build the program. They will also retrieve all the money via crypto currency to make sure it's all hidden. But it's a very well organized structure, so as you can well see, and obviously very, very profitable. So with that in mind, so what is driving that? So we know retail really are going down this journey already of digitizing and going to cloud. However, going to cloud and digitizing provides so many different issues that we got to start to manage. Even if you're looking at clouds, I know most of the retailers that I speak to are not in just one cloud. They're not just in Azure. They could be in AWS, could be in GCP, just the way that the nature of the business works. But obviously having that kind of distributed architecture from a cloud perspective, having 4 different cloud providers is a massive challenge to be able to start trying to manage. But also what we're trying to do when we start to operationalize half this stuff, security actually gets skipped. And that's not necessarily down to reducing the posture. It's actually down to maybe cost or not being introduced at the right stage of a project or a transformation. Also, we're starting to deploy more apps. So with the emergence of things like Power Platforms, apps are being now created not by IT, but created by business units within a retailer. So you may have a business unit that might want to create an app to solve a particular problem or to present a certain service. So trying to manage that kind of shadow app development is obviously massively important to businesses, but also protecting those environments as well. And again, we've got loads of retailers that are going on that journey to modernize. And so looking at containers, looking at Kubernetes, how do we then start to protect these environments when we certainly got not necessarily the right tools to do that? So this is what we're saying when we are migrating our customers into cloud. Consolidation. So we spent a lot of time with Gartner. No doubt the majority of the retailers on the call, and even Microsoft, a lot of Microsoft people on the call as well. Gartner have identified, I've been in this industry for 35 years, and it used to be always a dual vendor strategy. That's what you need to do to make sure you can lessen the risk of people compromising or getting entry into your infrastructure from a firewalling perspective. Well, that industry has now changed. Now, identity is probably your new perimeter. But consolidation is now being touted as the way to go. That's not only just in security, it's also in things like SASE and SSE. And the reason for that is, and I'll just pick out a couple of points that are in here, is through advanced integration. If it's a single vendor, then the integration between products and services are a lot more advanced, and you can do a lot more, and the vendor can do a lot more with them, but also a reduction in costs. What we found with a lot of the customers that we do work with, I think we've got one large retailer, or a manufacturer for a retailer anyway, who had best part of 25 products. And I think the overlap of products doing the same job was around 33%. So as you can probably imagine, the costs are quite significant in trying to reduce that. But obviously, what we want to do is take these customers on the journey to make sure that we can start to reduce those costs, increase the integration, so we can start taking advantage of these advanced integrations on the per vendor basis. And also, I'll probably pick on the lower administration burden as well. If I don't have to go to different portals to manage different things, it becomes a lot easier to manage that estate. So that's kind of where Gartner are going with this. And I think Microsoft have even got that mantra as well, is trying to start to get people on that single vendor journey, or at least reduce the number of vendors that they actually work with. AI, the threat actor and the defender. So we can't get away from AI. Rob's going to touch on some Copilot stuff at the end, so hopefully you'll get a good insight of what Microsoft are doing from a strategic perspective around the AI route and using Copilots. But we're using AI tools. Attackers have also the opportunity to use these tools as well. And because they are well organized and well financed, using these and bringing probably lower capable people to be able to start doing attacks using AI tools such as ChatGPT, BART, Roberta, all these are tools that they can use to go and build compromises or look for vulnerabilities, look for CVEs, making sure I can go out and build something that can allow me to get the compromises. So the access brokers at the bottom of that MDDR report and the first slide I presented is those tools are already built. So these can start to do this in more volume with less structured resources. Also, the language. Most people here would have received an email from a phishing attack. The language tends to be quite inconsistent, doesn't have the right grammar. But now using things like ChatGPT, that changes. So actually become really useful. And also with that tied in with social engineering, they can start to get even some of that detail of knowing a bit more about your personal lives, your business lives. So it becomes a little bit more realistic when they're sending emails into your inbox. And obviously they also are highly integrated into some of these X as a service services as well. But also, if you think about it, as we start to move to more machine learning, which I think is highly probable in retail anyway, the points of attack within these ML models are highly significant. So as you can see there, the attacker at the bottom there can start looking at how they look at poisoning attacks for training data that would go into a machine learning model. How do I actually then get that membership interference? How do I actually get that data and start to look at that data ourselves and maybe use to sell that from an IP perspective? Once that goes into the machine learning model as well, I might even look to try and attack that model to start to affect the process or affect the algorithms, which actually will affect the output. And also, even if I don't even get into the training data or the machine learning model, I can actually start to steal the IP that can be actually generated through the output. So as you can quite see, there's loads of areas where we can start to attack and affect or get data that's going to affect a model, that's going to affect output, and obviously would affect profits and probably reputation for businesses as well. But obviously staying ahead of the curve, AI risk management, obviously making sure security, responsible AI is there, and the model operations are also taken into consideration. That's what Copilot is also built on. So making sure that we can start to stay ahead of the curve with that. So the benefits to us as a defender, we're doing things at machine speed now. Not relying on the human. Although humans are required, these are the tools that we want to make sure that we can use to defend against these threats. We've built quite a few ChatGPT stuff in Sentinel, which allows us to build these logic apps to help our defenders to be able to protect our customers' environments using this tooling. But obviously, it increases our productivity. We can start to also probably put a tier as Copilot starts to become a little bit more mature. We can start to put a layer of Copilot into our customers' environments and start to think about how do we use that technology to be able to help us respond and protect our customers' environments at machine speed. Also driving efficiency. If I've got all these tools in place and they're all automation orientated, but also AI orientated, so that means I can also have less experienced resources be able to ask the right questions of a platform that can tell me what compromises I may have or what vulnerabilities are likely to be in my environment. Even allow Copilot to look at threat hunting and seeing what vulnerabilities or SVEs could be actually in my environment and go away and do that on behalf of an analyst. And obviously we want to simplify things. The more simple it is, the easiest for us to protect those environments. And obviously look at how do we continually optimize that environment as well to make sure we are defending. And because this is it's kind of a SaaS-based opportunity, these what I would consider the skill sets, the prompt books that are all associated with AI can all be updated and all updated at pace as well. SASE. So One of the things that we've hit, and this is more Gartner than anybody else. This is a Gartner kind of framework that they've touted. When we have applications and services sitting in a very distributed manner around multiple different clouds, whether that's in SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, on-premise, how we consume those services securely is a massive challenge. And the reason it's a challenge is because we've got to think about scale, but we're also now protecting a lot more entities. So employees, contractors, so we're now looking at identities rather than looking at devices or users. So we've got to think about how do we protect these users, but also then how do we protect users that are going to consume SaaS-based services using CASB? How do we start using things such as zero trust network access, so I can access my private applications using the same policy engine? So all these things become extremely important for us consuming and getting the right user experience. So us as a partner, we have a practice that delivers managed SaaS services, and now with the recent update from Microsoft doing SSE via Entra, now we can start to see customers taking that journey where they use cloud-based scale to be able to enable customers and users to be able to consume services in a secure manner, irrespective where they actually sit. We can't get away from OT and IoT. So these environments can be in some of the manufacturers that we work with that are associated to retailers. These could be 50, 60 years old. So protecting these environments needs a proper reference architecture. Now we do work with other security vendors such as Cisco, Cisco Meraki, Fortinet, and along with some of the products that we get from Microsoft. So your Defender for IoT, which also works into the Defender for Cloud Suite, and also has integrations into Sentinel. Is making sure we can provide an environment that gives us all the threat intelligence, gives us the vulnerabilities and vulnerability management for those particular ones. And as we are part of MISA, MISA is over 300 ISVs, vendors, and MSSPs that work together to provide this information or these insights that allow us to be able to protect these type of environments against any kind of threat vector that comes in. Another one is what we've had and the feedback we're getting from market is that ingesting logs, whether they're analytical logs or basic logs, are very expensive. So we need to drive relevancy. So business critical applications, and we speak to some customers now about how often do they do a business impact assessment or any analysis around that, is making sure we protect those business critical assets and services. So we need to build proper use case management for that. And that allows us then to drive down the costs and the relevancy of particular use cases that we want to do. And we will start to use it in conjunction with AI as well to make sure that we can update these and make sure we can protect customers' environments in the most cost-effective way, and then using all the tooling that we can use within the Microsoft stack to also be able to optimize cost and functionality. Excuse me. Skills is always a massive factor. We spent a bit of time with Gartner understanding this landscape as well. And some of the questions that we have had to ask from our customers outside of retail, but also in retail, is about how should we work with an MDR service or a SOC? Do we do it internally? Do we outsource? Do we partner? Now, if you look at these stats here on the bullet points on the left-hand side, cybersecurity resources grew by 4.7 million last year, but we're still short by 3.5 million globally. So the recommendations from the market, not just necessarily Gartner, but Forrester as well, is the way that you build the capability and start to shorten that reduction in the number of resources that are available to us is to partner. And this is how we've built our proposition, is to make sure that we have a co-managed service that allows us to build your capability should you have the desire to do this. And as you can see, there's a plethora of different job roles from a security perspective that you need to start to think about if you're going to do this from a modernization perspective and protect your environment. So making sure you partner and grow with a partner, whether you grow or you shrink, you should have that partnership in place to allow you to be able to do what you need to do strategically as well as operationally. And then cyber insurance, we have a few customers that are paying a good chunk of money for cyber insurance, but this probably quad way of them now extracting money from customers. Now, obviously, the encryption one that most people would have heard. So I encrypt all your traffic, ransomware, and I want you to pay for that. But then the threat is then if you're not doing that, we're going to start also publishing your data, and then we're going to start doing DDoS attacks, which means I stop the availability of applications that drive your business, and then we start to think about your supply chain, and then that's how they're going to start doing this. But we know that 83% of C-level respondents of this particular survey, I said they're not adequately protected, or can't even get cyber insurance, which is obviously a massive risk to most businesses. So we know one of the customers that we're working with now, I think they were paying best part of £850,000 for mandates per year for £30 million cover. That was probably in 2021. They re-signed the same premiums for £15 million cover. So it can just show you how that landscape also is changing, and making sure that we have, and what these insurance companies now are doing, they're a little bit clever by the way that they actually assess using posture and maturity as an assessment tool to be able to drive mandate costs. So the higher your posture, the better your maturity, the more active you are in hygiene activities, the less your premiums are likely to be. So that is actually modernising that particular market. And then what the board needs to know, so what we have also is how do we articulate that into our cyber leaders within the business. Security can be used as a value sell to a board, making sure that we build trust with our partners, building trust with our customers, making sure we're a safe pair of hands to do business with. So, but we need to obviously identify and understand what our business critical assets and services are, understand what that impact's likely to be. So what is the likelihood I'm going to get impacted, and what is going to be the impact? Is it fines? Is it reputation? Is it productivity? Is it cost? I think the GDPR cost is 4% of annual revenue, and that is if you have data stolen from a PII perspective. Then obviously they also want to understand what is the cost. So they don't know the ins and outs of a really detailed description about what CVEs are, or vulnerability management reports. They need to know simply what are my risks, what is the likelihood of me being attacked, what is my cost, or what's my impact to the business, and what does it cost to fix that, is probably what they need to know. So we've spent a lot of time with some CISOs to understand how they did this, and these are global CISOs that have a plethora of experience doing this. And now I hand over. So thanks for listening to me. I hope you've got some insights into what you have a copy of the slides. I'll pass you over to Martin. I was just going to go over some data and some security information for you.
Thanks very much, Mark. And just by way of introduction to myself, so I'm the practice lead for data and AI here. I've been here for 9 years, not quite the length of the tenure that Mark has, but when he said he started his career out in 1987, I was born in 1984. So yeah, I was born, mate, but I've got about 20 years experience working within the IT sector. So hopefully don't make you feel that old. So working as a practice lead in data and AI here, I'm responsible for all things around data warehousing, analytics, data integrations and data migrations, and then indeed AI and ML capabilities as well. So of course there's a plethora of different attack areas and surfaces that we need to be mindful of when we're considering all things data. And of course in retail, when data is key for yourselves, there's so many considerations that you need to think of at every touch point along the way. So I wanted to start by just showing a common architecture that you're probably all familiar with in an analytics and then indeed integrations and using AI and ML landscape. And I suppose it's really key that you identify, you probe, and then you respond to data security threats within your organization. And it's imperative that we do this for establishing not just a trust, but obviously then fostering a secure work environment and safeguarding company resources. It's not just for yourselves and your employees, but also for your customers as well. So as we look across this landscape that's on screen now, There's lots of customer data moving from source, be it from the left-hand side in your data sources, be it your CRM systems, be it your logistics systems where you've got actual details around your products and your services, and shipping those throughout logistics teams and departments. But then you've also got complex operations that you're doing with that data, bringing it all together, doing that manipulation, doing that join of that data through ETL process and beyond. And then you've also got that digital presence and your digital assets facing the internet too. So there's all those attack surfaces and all the different opportunities for unsavory people to be doing unsavory work with your data. So all of that needs protecting with various hygiene activities, whilst also concentrating on improving the wider security posture and maturity. So Mark touched on it earlier in his slides, and what we're seeing is really in retailers is that they're needing to perform some vendor consolidation due to the diversification in the market. Of course, having Mark mentioned there's lots of crossover and such like, so many different tool sets that are being used. If you can bring that together,
Martin, a quick one. The slides
Yes.
are not moving, so maybe I need to stop sharing, or you need to take control at the top.
Does that? Let's see. Yeah, has that moved on?
That's moved on now. Yeah.
Amazing. Right.
So I know you're talking through that stuff. So just apologies to the people who are watching this. It didn't seem to have handed over properly.
Sorry for not moving on. But yeah, hopefully you're all familiar with a common data landscape and architectures. You might not necessarily be using those tool sets that you can see on screen now, but there's all those different touch points in which you might be using data, and then obviously open to attacks in those spaces. So be it across your data sources, be it across your data storage within cloud, be it through ETL processes or whatever you're doing with the manipulation of your data, you need to be mindful all the way that people are wanting to get access to that data, and that's not always people external. You need to be mindful of things, data loss prevention from people internally, not realizing that they might be exposing data and actually damaging your reputation. So I mentioned before vendor consolidation, just making sure that you're actually streamlining so you know what information you are protecting. You've not got a plethora of different tool sets out there for doing that kind of stuff. But also, I'm sure there's heavy regulatory and compliance requirements that you guys will need to adhere to. So making sure that you've got the capabilities and the requirements to be able to report on that and say how you are protecting customers' data, specifically around PII, GDPR data, then you need to make sure that you've got the checks and measures in place and that you're not exposing that data. And then it's imperative that retailers protect the customer journey, not just the customer data, but absolutely every step along the way that those customers are interacting with you. And of course, you'll do a grand job of like mapping out the customer journey, but you need to make sure that you're protecting it all at all those various stages. Think about encryption of data at rest and in transit, your access controls through the likes of role-based access control, key vaults for storing and accessing secrets that you want to tightly control access to. And then with the real sophisticated ransomware and other attacks out there, which can impersonate users, for example, getting access to key data and manipulating it, retailers really need solutions to overlay their data estate. So I suppose that's when we come on to Microsoft Purview. And Microsoft Purview is essentially, it's a fully managed, unified data governance, data risk, and data compliance service. And it helps you manage and govern your data on premises, multi-cloud, and indeed SaaS applications as well. It's all accessed through a number of portals, through a governance portal or a compliance portal. And these portals really provide the ability to gain transparency, gaining visibility into your data assets across your organization. In terms of security, you've got the ability to safeguard and manage sensitive data across clouds, applications, and endpoints. And then in terms of risks and compliance, you've got the ability to manage end-to-end data risks and that regulatory compliance that you need to adhere to. And then it provides a high-level management capability, empowering your organization to manage and govern and protect your data in new comprehensive ways. So if we look into the two portals, we start first with the governance portal. Data governance is all around managing data as a strategic asset. and it involves ensuring that there are controls around data, such as content, structure, use, and its safety. And a great example of this is the need to track and provide guidance around personally identifiable information, which must be kept secure for compliance and regulators. Over the past 2 years, there's around 90% of the world's data has been created in that last 2 years alone, with the average person generating a staggering 1.7 megabytes of data a second. So you can imagine all the data that you guys hold on your customers and all the logistics and everything you do with that. Organizations have seen a massive increase in their digital footprint, leading to data fragmentation and the growth across a multitude of applications, devices, and locations. And of course, that can leave blind spots with ever enlarging data estates, ever evolving data regulatory compliance and compliance risks and policies. So to meet those challenges of decentralized and data-rich workplaces, you need to be successful in optimizing the management and the governance of your growing data estates. And for that very reason, Microsoft has introduced Microsoft Purview. Going beyond the governance side of things, there's the risk and compliance portal. And through this compliance portal, you can discover data that's stored in the likes of Microsoft 365 Cloud, and you can analyze it for the presence of artifacts that may impose data security risks on your organization. You can analyze user behavior for events that may impose risks to your organization. So Mark again was touched on it earlier, how you can really easily impersonate people and using the likes of ChatGPT and Bart, using that natural language. So it's a lot more difficult to actually distinguish what is a bot and kind of fake emails being sent and actually what are legitimate emails being sent. So using the compliance portal and the suite of tool sets available in there is going to really provide those capabilities to protect you all the more. Those vulnerabilities can range from the loss of intellectual property to workplace harassment and more. In fact, according to research, I've got to start here, there's about 20% of data breaches are due to internal actors alone. So data leaks and the theft might have been overshadowed by external threats in the past. However, they've become the more common vulnerability and risks that organizations need to address. So data security incidents can happen anywhere and indeed at any time. If I come on to just then some overviews of both the governance portal and the compliance portal, there's a number of key capabilities and tool sets that you have within each of those. If we start in the governance portal, you've got the data catalog, and that really allows business and technical users to quickly and easily find relevant data using a search experience with filters that are based on lenses such as glossary terms, classifications, sensitivity labels, and more. You're able to map your data with the data map capabilities, and it provides like a foundation for data discovery and effective data governance. With Purview's data map, it's a cloud-native PaaS service that really captures the metadata about all of that data around your estate and around the enterprise data that's present in analytics and operational systems for on-premise and cloud solutions. Beyond that, you've got the data insights. And data insights really allows you to have a bird's eye view of your data estate, and you can gain actual insights into the governance gaps and really identify how you can resolve some of those experiences and some of those gaps. Moving on to the compliance portal, there's a plethora of tool sets that I mentioned before. And whilst I've got a couple that are mentioned on screen covering the know, the protect, and the prevent, really you've got a number of capabilities. If you take the compliance manager, that helps organizations automatically assess and manage the compliance across the multi-cloud environment. Microsoft Purview information protection can help you discover, classify, and protect sensitive information wherever it lives or travels. You've got Purview data loss prevention, and that provides unified data loss prevention capabilities across endpoints, applications, and services, like I mentioned before. You have Purview data lifecycle management. That includes data retention, data deletion, records management, automated policies, and then it provides that proof of compliance. You've also got tool sets around auditing solutions as well, and these provide integrated solutions to help organisations effectively respond to security events, forensic investigations, internal investigations, and then again those compliance obligations that you guys may need to meet. And then you've got the e-discovery solutions. These provide an ability to search for data and content in the likes of Exchange Online, OneDrive for Business, SharePoint Online, Teams, Microsoft 365 groups, etc., etc. And you can search mailboxes and the sites in the same e-discovery search, and then export the results for analysis and review. And the integrations with Purview and the likes of Power BI give a really nice interface to be able to visualize all of those analytics that you're undertaking. Then you've got Purview inside of risk management. That helps you identify and triage and act on risky user activity in your organization. So as I mentioned before, that those internal actors as well, and these tool sets can help you with that. And then you've got communications compliance. When we're all using the likes of Microsoft Teams so frequently, internally and externally, you can use the communications compliance tool sets to minimize risks, helping you quickly detect and capture and take remediation actions for the likes of emails and Microsoft Team communications. And on that point, I will hand over to Rob.
Amazing. Thanks for that, Martin. Really helpful, really insightful. So I'm going to take a little bit of a different view from Martin and Mark, and really look at what the future holds within the security space, certainly around AI. And really what comes to mind for that is Copilot. So Copilot is, it's a real big buzzword at the minute. Microsoft are investing heavily in it, and AI is everywhere. Wherever you look in all of the news, you can't really read anything that's not about AI, generative AI, and the advancements that's happening in that. And Copilot is really where Microsoft have brought that to life and integrated that within their product suite. When you look at 87% of organizations believe AI will give them a competitive edge, it's no wonder that there's such a big focus on it at the minute. And really where the value of that is coming to is bringing it to life and integrating it into the technology and really removing that barrier of entry, giving organizations and people, a new common interface layer to use this technology both personally and professionally as well. It really is going to set us up for this big paradigm shift. When you look at continuously access and improve posture, real-time visibility with the context that it's got from the technology, allowing you to investigate and respond to threats, in unprecedented speed with that contextual information, and fundamentally improving productivity and collaboration. And this is really where AI within this space and across all of the technology really adds that value, is it fundamentally allows you to do more with less, and allows you to move much quicker with much more detailed information aggregated across multiple different technology stacks and interfaces that you can respond to in natural language. You can prompt to it, you can ask it questions, and it will give you the information, or it will action something for you off the back of that. So really powerful and really setting us up for this paradigm shift. And when you look at when the two sort of come together, you've got this tool consolidation and this AI sort of meeting in the middle to transform the security posture and how you interface with it. I'm sure everyone on the call who has invested heavily in security has got a plethora of tools that they already use. We're moving a long way to start to consolidate a load of them, and no one more so than Microsoft. And when you overlay that with AI and the Copilot, it really does give you this common interface across all of the different technology stack, all of the different tools and services that Microsoft have to offer that you can consume. So what is Copilot? When you really break it down, what does it provide? What value does it have? And why should it be something that's on everyone's radar? If you look at the landscape at the minute, the odds are really against security analysts. 4,000 passwords attacked per second on average. The median time for breach, from a phishing email is 72 minutes. 3.5 million global security shortage of cybersecurity professionals. There's no wonder why we need to rely on AI and leverage these tools. to help bolster the security posture of an organization, because there is a shortage of people skilled enough to fight this threat. The attack rate is exponentially growing every day, and really why that is because AI is also being used in the attack. It's been leveraged to make it much better, much more advanced phishing emails, much more advanced exploiting code, and you need to use AI to combat that and overcome that. And Copilot really does bridge that gap between the completely detracting away from a person sat at a desk manually doing it versus just letting an AI completely do it. It bridges the gap and gives you the AI influence and the AI benefits of productivity with the human interaction, and the two can come together to really add value and drive it forward. Copilot really does allow you to, give you responses in minutes, not hours. It simplifies the context of the information you're getting back, which is really important from a security point of view. I'm sure everyone's seen security logs and outputs and alerts, and they can be quite complicated. Using AI to simplify that down and give it context, which is easily understandable and can be read at any level, is really super important. You can catch what other misses using AI, always on real-time alert, but you can help it to upskill security talent as well. So you can use, multiple different grades of people to achieve more and do more with the comfort blanket and the safety that the AI and Copilot can really bring together. When you look at it from how you interact with it, it's nothing more than, as you would use ChatGPT or some other service like that, where you are just prompting it and you're getting a response back. So, there's a couple of prompts there. You can see examples on the left, and a couple of examples of what it'll look like in terms of what information you would get back. But, just to call some of the really powerful ones out for me, tell me about my last incidents, summarize the incident in a PowerPoint. So it makes it really easy to report up and export that information out and create a C-level deck on, why something happened, what was done to mitigate it, what were the actions, how can I improve my security posture? It's just a simple open-ended question, but using all of the tools that Microsoft are providing, how they integrate together and how they overlay together, it has that information to aggregate the context and tell you and give you recommendations on how you can improve that security posture, and how you can make fundamental changes to put you in a better position. So again, it really does remove that barrier to entry from being someone really skilled in cybersecurity versus someone who just wants to have that information of, well, am I secure? Can I do anything more? What can I do? And it makes it much more palatable for someone to interact with these technologies, which can otherwise be quite scary to use. If you look at how this works in practice, the human really just submits a prompt, ask it a question, give it a task, then Copilot goes away, determines the context, builds a plan, executes on that plan across all of the different areas. It combines the data that it receives back, puts some contextual information around it so you can read it, it formats that data, and then it sends it back to you for you to consume. It's really straightforward. You don't really see the bottom bit. You just submit a prompt and you get the response. But it integrates across all of the different technology stacks, bringing it together for you to view. And when I say all the different technology stacks, there's currently about 200 Copilots that Microsoft have produced and are out there that you can consume. But specifically on security, you can sort of see here, you've got Defender for Endpoint, Sentinel, Intune, and you can see what capabilities it's currently got there, and these are growing every day, and Microsoft are going to continue to invest and continue to bring more features to this technology. But fundamentally, it's built using responsible AI, which again is always the biggest concern when you talk about using Copilots, ChatGPT, AI. Microsoft have built this framework, they adhere to it. Transparency, accountability, inclusiveness, reliability. They've got the model, the framework that all of their AI is built on top of. So you know that if you're adopting this tool, you're adhering to the responsible AI framework, and you're benefiting from that as well. But just to remove any doubt, your data is your data. The data is not used in any to train any other AI models. and your data is protected by the most comprehensive enterprise compliance and security controls, just to give you some confidence of, using Copilot, when you can switch this on and when you can use it to help, help your security posture. Your data is your data. What it's responding to you, what it's using, is yours. It's not used to train any other data. So just to put those concerns at ease, it is a tool that's there to drive productivity, to drive security, and increase that security posture across your organization. I've got a quick video just to give you a real life demo of it, which I'll play now. I'll just put myself on mute so it doesn't feed back.
I want to make sure that we can see here from a simple natural language prompt like analyze incident, Copilot can suggest some of the highest priority active incidents that then an analyst can select from and then dive into.
Super.
Yeah. From there, what we're going to see is how it creates a summary that is in plain English, and this is based on trusted information from authoritative sources like Microsoft Defender and log files as well.
And like a visualization that can help somebody who's maybe not as familiar with the environment.
There's even a diagram of the attack path there. Now, sometimes the incident responses, they require specialized skill sets that not all analysts have, like reverse engineering. And that's really when we get to look into a piece of malware to see what it does there.
Yeah.
But with Security Copilot, any analyst can use reverse engineering with a click of a button here. Now, what we see is Copilot's analysis of the code, and it's really telling us that the malware here is attempting to get that group project ID using this ID number within this hidden folder here. Now, having this type of information, that could provide teams with information on finding other affected devices and then clean up from there.
Super.
Now, analysts can also use Security Copilot to help neutralize active threats, and this is using the container prompt book here. So here we see that Copilot's laying out some steps for us. It's asking or laying out the first step, which is isolating affected devices, and then revoking access for compromised accounts, and then of course restoring devices to a healthy state.
Awesome.
So with Security Copilot, that enables even a junior analyst to provide the most advanced investigations with just a fraction of the time that it used to take.
Fantastic, Olivia.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it.
Just gives you a quick preview. I was just reading the comments. Someone said some people have struggled with sound, but it feels like the majority got the sound on that. So apologies if you didn't get any sound. Hopefully you still got to see what was going on. Really easy to create a prompt. Get a visualization of it coming back. Reverse engineering some malware. Quite advanced stuff that you were just doing with a prompt and interfacing with it. There is another video after this as well, which I've not put on here, but really just saying export the above to a C-level PowerPoint presentation for me, and it just generated the report. All the incident stuff, the attack path in a board-ready report that you could use. So really powerful, and hopefully that really does give you the insight and how easy this is to consume and the power it's got that it's going to bring to the table, certainly from a security and cybersecurity posture point of view. So when you look at generative AI, it really does make apps truly intelligent, and the future of Copilot is to extend what Microsoft give you and build around it to truly integrate it into into your environment, into your organization, build it into your processes and workflow, so you can leverage the power it's got. You can build additional functionality. You can really tailor it to your own. You can take your current apps, your current processes, your current workflows, with this paradigm shift of Copilot and generative AI, and really create those intelligent apps, those intelligent workflows, using natural language, driven by context from your data, from your environment, to really help progress you as an organization. And as I say, reduces our barrier of entry and gives you a new common interface layer to interact with this technology as we progress moving forward. The potential is clear. The question really is how are you going to adopt it? How are you going to use it? That's it from me. I'm going to hand back over to Claire, just conscious we've got a couple of minutes left. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Martin. I don't know if anybody's got any questions. As I say, pop them in the chat. We will answer them as best we can. But equally, if anybody's looking to learn more about the posture, learn more about Copilot, more about ANS's capabilities and skill set in the sector, please feel free to reach out. Mark's going to jump in about some of the ways that we go to market and kind of how we can help you wherever you are on your roadmap.
Yeah, Thanks, Guy. So we're helping quite a few customers, and you'll probably find that these accelerators and navigators will change over a period of time. So you'll start to see some co-pilot ones, the stuff that Rob's just been speaking about, will start to feature in here from an accelerator and a navigator perspective. Just to give you an example of what an accelerator does, it's a proof of concept, effectively. It is aligned with Microsoft funding. So generally, if you are eligible, you'll get this cost neutral, but you'll get to touch and feel the technology as you see fit and make sure if it's capable to deliver on the requirements that you do from a security perspective. Navigators are more strategic. If you need to understand how we're going to modernize, where am I now, what target architecture and operating model do I need to move to, what do I need to do to transition from that from where you are now to that target operating model and the costs associated to it. So there's a few things there that we can take advantage of, and obviously our managed services on the left hand side is what most customers generally know what they want. So they may go straight to MDR or Microsoft Managed XDR or even Managed SASE or Managed SSC. So these are the way that we engage and help customers start to adopt and strategize around, even operationalize for the MDR service for security service from ANS. We'll move on to the next slide, Claire.
Thanks,
and these, again, a boatload of funding streams that we can start to take advantage of from Microsoft. ANS PCSI is only, I think, 8 partners in the UK that are eligible to provide this funding for customers. So if you want to reach out afterwards and discuss any of these particular funding streams, then we're more than happy to nominate or verify whether you're eligible or not on these particular funding initiatives.
Thanks, Mark. So yeah, if there's anything today of course the session has maybe piqued your interest on whether you want to look at your cyber posture or where your strategy needs to be, ANS can certainly help build the case for change, bring the wider business with you on that journey. We're offering a free of charge security assessment, which you basically be reviewing platform, help you build that roadmap and case for change if necessary. So please feel free to reach out to us if you want to take us up on this. We've got some people from Microsoft on the call as well, so I don't know if anybody's got any questions you want to shout up at the end or pop them in the chat, more than free to do so. Appreciate we've got a minute left, so I don't know about anybody else, but that is perfect timing. I appreciate a lot of people might need to jump for the next call, but just a massive thank you from all the team here at ANS for joining us. It's been really good to have you on the session. Equally, if there's anybody who wants to reach out afterwards to send us some questions, we're more than happy to answer. But this deck will be available. I'll share that after the event, and also you've got the recording as well. So, don't know if anybody's got any questions or we're good to wrap up.
Yeah, so Alex from Microsoft here. Hot news off the press this morning. Security Copilot has been reduced in price for the early access program, so it's now down to $50K, so slightly less in pounds. And you will get 6 months access from the date of purchase. So that has been that's much more in favour of our customers. So guaranteeing that level of access for 6 months, and the cost has been halved. So fresh, hot off the press information for everyone on the call there about Security Copilot early access program.
Thanks, Alex. I think there's also the document streams out there as well. So the document in Learn. So we'll provide that and some useful guidance that we'll probably put into the deck, so you can access that. So that's available. I think that came out today as well, Alex, just to give people some more of an overview about what it is. But there's a document stream for it as well. So.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for joining. Have a great day.
Have a good rest of the day. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.